So why don't you just talk real briefly about this project that you're doing? What is the project, and what is the, you talked last week with me just a little about the purpose of it, and so this earthworms project. Why do a lawn project, and what is this project?
Well, this project about earthworms is basically the child's interest. Remember last time you were here, we mentioned about the kids' interest of looking for worms under the tree stumps and stuff. So we went from there. We noticed that the children were very interested, so I decided to create a lesson plan. And we researched, and I asked the kids what were they interested if they wanted to do worms, and they were very excited. So we started with the introduction of earthworms by drawing pictures to see what their understanding was about earthworms, to see if they had an idea what they look like. So they drew some pictures, and from there we started reading books, making worms out of clay, Play-Doh, and looking into that computer for research. And then we talked about it. They graphed the earthworms.
So you had actual earthworms here.
And then we have actual earthworms where they had to, the experience to touch, feel, and use words like wiggly, slimy, and all those words that usually don't come until later on. So, and then they also use words like segments. When I first heard them say that word, I go, wow, that is so cool, because that is a word that probably doesn't come until first, second, or third grade. So it was excited.
And so now you often do these lawn projects. Why the lawn projects?
Sometimes in the long projects, there you get a lot from the children, and a lot of that information that you get from the children, extending the math, the language, and the literacy, you get all that stuff that you could use for the DRDPs. And for when you have a parent conference with parents, then you let them know where the children are standing, where they're at, what level they're in. So that's the purpose of those long-term projects, to get the most of their knowledge.
So you mentioned the interest of the children in this, and then you mentioned also that you use lots of different curriculum areas. So how do you do that, and why are you using all of these things, math and all of this? I mean, how does that work?
Well, we use it basically by using the foundations and the lesson plan, and we use it because it helps us plan for the children, for our lesson plans. And that way we'll feel that if the child it's advanced, we start planning more challenging projects or more challenging subjects for the weeks to come.
How does it work to have? So how do you think about everything at once, kind of math and language arts and movement and all of these things. So why are you planning for all those things woven together? So if you can kind of talk about that.
Basically all those areas are important. Those are all the areas that we have to document in the DRDPs. And the more we do it, the more documentation that we get for each child. We have to do, I believe it's like 60 or 50 some measures in DRs. And we have to get at least 2 or more anecdotes for each child and each measure. So when we plan this long-term project, you get a lot of that information, and then it makes it easier for you to complete a DRDP.
Okay, and then on the learning child, aside from the DRDPs, and the foundations, but just on the for children in a preschool setting or in any setting, why do you want all of these? I'm not going to be on tape saying this, but why do you want all these? Why do you want math and science and literacy and everything to weave together? Why do you want to teach that way? Why is that important for kids in how they, preschool children, and how they learn? I mean, you could just teach a math lesson and then but instead you've got it all woven together. It's kind of part of their natural day and their play and everything. Why is that? Why do you do it that way?
Well, it just happened in preschool. Sometimes it's hard to see that math and science and literacy is happening in a preschool setting. But throughout the day, if kids go to the block area, they're going to be doing math. They go to the science area, there's science. Or they're going to be playing with beads, puzzles, or just building, that's math. Or sometimes they're playing with farm animals or other animals. They're just doing sequencing or patterning with those toys. So there is math throughout the day, and there is literacy and discovery science. So basically, that's what happened in a preschool setting.
And what's your role in when as they're playing and you're with them? What's your role?
Just basically to ask not any questions, like let's ask questions so that continue the conversation. What is that they're doing? Oh, how well you build that? Can you tell me about it? Just increase their language.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So that talking a little bit more about your role in terms of when they bring up something like patterns or something like that.
It's just for me to increase their language and extend what they're learning. Basically what they're learning is extend more, like if they're talking about patterns, oh, how well you create a pattern. Can you show me how you make that pattern? Mm-hmm. And just extend it.
Great. Okay. That's perfect. Thanks. So now we're going to start the pre-brief part that's going to be just prior to the lesson.
And you're on.
And I'm going to be on that just because we're trying to model this thinking partner thing.
Okay. All right. So whenever you guys are ready.
Okay. Well, Armando, thank you for letting me be your thinking partner today. This is really exciting, and to talk about this This is the last culminating piece of your lawn earthworm project, right? Which you did
yes.
in the last few weeks.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
Yeah. And so what we're going to do is kind of talk about what you're hoping to have happen today. And I want to thank my colleagues at University of Missouri, St. Louis, Dr. Ralph Cordova and his team at the Collabitat there for kind of helping. I'm using and drawing on their questions that they use too, so I want to give them some credit. But so I'm looking forward to this. So today, what is it that you want to explore? You know, the content and how you want to explore it. What do you?
For today's activity, where the kids are going to be creating an earthworm with paper mache, what I want them to know is whether they're able to do some logic thinking and putting this paper together to create the earthworm. How are they going to do it, what they're going to use, and how long they want to make it.
Okay, and so you remember I'm just taking notes of what you say so I can say it back, not just so I have it written down because I have a short memory here. So what I hear you saying is that you're now at this point at the end of the project where they're actually going to create an earthworm, and that's the purpose of that is about getting to logical thinking and using the reasoning so that you're going you want them to think about how long they might need to make it, what they need to make it with, and that.
Yes.
So how are you thinking about getting that? I mean, are you?
Well, prior to starting with the project, we're gonna talk about how much tape are they gonna use, how much tape do they think they're gonna use, how much paper are they gonna use for that, how many days is it gonna take for us to complete this project. And if they have any other ideas, what else can we do with the earthworm?
So your way of planning for this is to ask them questions. Is that what I'm saying? Like how much and
how much of
how
it?
many, how long, and etc. Can Can you share just a little bit about, you were talking a little bit, this is outside of this thinking partner thing, but you were talking a little bit about, you often do these kinds of big projects like paper mache at the end, and what happened with the new little student that came with this one?
Okay, well, we have this new returning student from last year, and often we do a paper mache project towards the end of each research that we do, and she asked if we were going to make a paper mache this time. So I told them, if you want to, how big do you want to make it? You make it big? Do you want to make it little? Or do you want to make it medium? And I show them a ruler, a measuring stick, and the measuring tape. And they took the measuring stick and they said, we want to make it this long.
So that kind of...
gave me the idea.
So how do you envision this particular activity that you're going to be doing today that starts with the planning? How do you see that unfolding, like the beginning, the middle, and the end? Or what are you envisioning that it...
Well, with the new students and when they're returning student, I have a feeling that I'm hoping that they're able to connect all the papers together and be able to keep all the newsprint together with the tape, that they will be able to fold it. There's no right or wrong in this project, so whatever it comes out to be, that's what it is.
So how do you envision that you or plan that you might be starting, and then what do you hope will happen that you're going, or that you think you'll be doing next, and that you think will happen next as you're planning your lesson?
Well, I just want them to use their creativity, and then once that project is finished, and we'll go over it, and I will pull out the books again and compare the project that they completed with the earthworms in the books, and we'll compare similarities. Does it look like?
So you're saying that you're hoping that there's this actual making process that you hope new and returning students can do some of the things like connecting the paper and tape. And then the second thing is that you're going to use this big earthworm that they make to compare. And contrast and sort of review what they've learned about earthworms. And so how do you plan to start today?
Today we are going to introduce and ask questions about it. I'm going to present the materials, have them ready on the table for them, and then just ask them to what is that they need to create this earthworm, and just bring the materials out and let them work.
Okay, so what I hear you saying is that you're going to start today by introducing.
Yes.
And that you're going to be asking questions, and that's going to be around the materials that you actually have in front of them that
yes.
they're going to be using. And then they're going to go to do the actual work on
on the earthworm.
So I think you've said a little bit already about this, but maybe you can say again or say a little bit more about what you want them to take away from this lesson, this particular piece of the whole project.
I just want them to basically learn to see what the measurements, like big, medium, small, and basically see some development, the motor skills, and work as a team together.
Okay, so what I hear you saying is that you're hoping to see some specific things around measurement.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, big, medium, small, and also you earlier said they're logical reasoning, mathematical reasoning, and that they also are able to in the actual making of it, that their motor skills. You see some growth in there, and also finally in their in the teamwork.
Yes.
The collaboration. Wait a minute.
Go back on that. So if you could just start that sentence.
So what I hear you saying is that what you want, you're hoping that the children are going to walk away with some new learning about measurement, or reinforcing their learning about measurement that they have,
yes.
and that they also enhance their motor skills, particularly
Their
their fine
fine
motor
motor.
skills, yes, and that they're able to work as a team,
Yes.
work together. And then what is it that you want to learn from this particular lesson?
Well, just basically I want to see where their children are standing, whether how much they, basically if they learn, if it was worth it all, spending all this time with a long-term project, and see how much the children take out of it.
Uh-huh.
That's basically what I want to see happening.
Okay. Well, then I'm looking forward to seeing what happens.
Okay.